Caution. This video explores deep existential struggles from my life. Viewer discretion and mindful listening are advised. Hey there, I'm Yek. Welcome to Let's Talk, where we talk about topics. And I'm starting off strong, and there's going to be 3 videos in total where they talk about really difficult things that relate to my life, and it's more of my perspective. The reason I say we start off strong is because I'm already talking about something that's sensitive as the first video, funny enough. We're talking about existentialism for this one, and this is an error you should not make as a young child. I am not a child anymore, but I would still like to talk to the or mention about this because this is something you should not do as a child. But I don't get where this came from when I was young. Usually, I think there was a case where I would tell people that when I was born, or not where I was born. When people are born, they tend to be happy until they start facing reality once they become like old enough where parents start going like you'll grow up to this age and you'll have a job and do this and do that. I know I say it like, "Oh hey, don't you have a life too?" Boy, you do not understand the things that I still have yet to do in my life. But this video is not really recommended if you're a kid because I know most likely you're not going to watch throughout the entire video. Like, hey, if you're young, if you're just young audience, you're not going to watch through this entire video. And I'm sure of it because one, you're not going to understand it. Two, you're still in that phase where you're not going to have to face anything that hard just yet until you're told about it. So, if you're young and you're watching the video currently right now, I recommend you click off, go watch something nice, and enjoy your day. Please do not stay here and listen to this entire thing because this entire thing could help you learn as a lesson. Well, not necessarily lesson, could help you learn some information or my viewpoint on how this affected my life. But at the same time, I'd rather you be happy and joyous and go do whatever else you have. This begins back when I was in elementary. I think when I was around like 7, 8ish, I started to probably be in existentialism. Uh, I'm not going to talk about the other two topics because I can mention behavior, which, funny enough, that's going to be the next video that comes out eventually when I make it. The reason I talk about behavior was because I was really observative and I didn't understand why people behave in some way. I'll talk about that once I make the second Let's Talk, which would be called Let's Talk Behavioral. Let's talk about behavioral. But this is existentialism, so it's still the time to be talking about this. So it begins, as mentioned, 8ish. I looked around one time, sometimes didn't understand why. Now, I can't remember exactly if I was a teen or if I was still a kid by the time this happened, where I actually remember still that as a child, I asked one question that usually children would not ask themselves. Because when you're young, you still have that illusion of happiness. At least I call it the illusion of happiness. I've actually spoken to a teacher who's a psychologist, and they had another opinion about what I said to them, which basically counter argued the way that I said the illusion of happiness. But let's call it like facing reality then. That's usually what it is. Kids don't face reality that easily until they're a certain age where their parents go like, oh hey, it's about time we talk about this and whatnot. Reason I tell you that was because as a young child, I may have accidentally gone into existential crisis, or not exactly crisis, but questioned why I existed. Now, it says you're not supposed to question anything about existence as a child until you're either an adolescent or an adult. But there has been rare cases where some children made it to the point where they ask themselves, why do we live and whatnot? I still remember the exact words when I used to be really young, which was, why am I here when someone else could be living my life? Or something along the lines. It's still similar. Now, existentialism is when we ask questions like, why are we here? And it relates to why we're here existing in life. It's a tough topic because technically you're questioning existence. I'm not going to go in depth of existentialism because I don't want to get information incorrect. But as a young child, that happened where I asked myself why I exist. This led to some darker topics as well, because usually some people thought I was too alone or depressed and some other stuff. But I've had my times as a child to be questioning why am I here, because to me it sometimes seemed like it never made sense for me to be here anyways. And this was also an issue I saw in general, where I would look around and question, out of all people that could have existed into life, why was I someone who existed? And I know it's probably one of the most negative and sad things I can mention, because I've treated some people well in my life too, for them to ask me why I would think these ways. There's also been people who probably asked me to go to therapy or get a psychologist and talk to them, but it's just that I think about these things. I don't act upon any of these things, because I tend to be someone who speaks a lot. So usually I say some pretty dark things and it makes people uncomfortable, which is funny. But if you want to learn something, the thing about existentialism, if you're a child, do not attempt this. Do not go thinking too much. Enjoy everything else you do, because if you start questioning these things, you will struggle to answer what you cannot technically answer. And I say technically because I don't think we understand existence entirely. Like, you can say being born from a mother. I mean, that's as far as you'd go, but more like the consciousness. That's what I feel, at least. I feel like the in depth of that is the consciousness, because we say we live in a body. So what if someone else was in our body and we didn't have to exist? So then someone else would be in our body. But these are just sometimes things to wonder why and think about it. But that's technically my viewpoint of it. This is just so you get to know me a little bit and understand that this was something that happened to me. So if you want to do something, just don't go into existential crisis. And if you like thinking about these things, go ahead, just don't bust your mind going too far into it. Like, if you want to do the research of it, you want to look up things, and if you're just sane enough, like if you have the sanity to do these things, go ahead, be my guest, but do not go insane trying to figure any of these things out, because I think it's like the most unhealthiest thing you can do. Because I've also been in certain situations where certain things I would think about are unhealthy, but I can't really go in depth to behavior, because behavior would be for the next episode or the next video of Let's Talk, which is the first time I even begin making this. It's the same thing as basically that one playlist I have called Storytelling, but okay, I'm going off topic too much. But yeah, that's literally just my experience of existentialism. So I thank you for using your time to be here with me listening to this little short thing. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope to see you eventually. I really don't know what to say. This is I know I should probably attempt doing gaming, because doing these things is just not the greatest thing. So yeah, if this just gave you a little bit of insight of someone's point of view, then well, that's about it. Have a great day and happy learning other things. I don't know.